So welcome everyone. Just allowing your body to settle into your seat by noticing the solid surface that it's resting against and the invitation to give itself to gravity, to the holding. And so it's very helpful to bring the attention down towards the lower half of the body at the beginning of our sits. It will balance out the energy field, which tends to be top heavy. And it helps us to come into our bodies. Enlightenment and awakening happens through the body because we are human beings after all. And so, although meditation can be seen as a spiritual pursuit, it's actually a human pursuit. And as we come into the lower half of the body, we will begin to notice and to register different sensations like breath, like comfort and discomfort in the body. Areas of tension, areas that are settling and relaxing, areas that feel agitated. And as always, we make space for all of these different details of our experience. We arrive just as we are. We start where we are. And as you keep your attention anchored in the lower half of the body, you may notice a kind of a trickling down feeling beginning to happen. Some may even notice that the feet and the legs begin to feel fuller, and maybe even a sense of energy flow, tingling as that part of the body comes back online. You also may become aware of the breath for the first time consciously today. And so we can allow it to dance however it's dancing right now within the generous opening of our awareness. And for sure, for likely every one of us, the mind has been coming in with its perspective, with its evaluation, with its stories. And so, one thing that meditation can do for us is it can help us to get to know the nature of our mind more intimately, more directly, more honestly. Usually, we're being led around by our minds without really being aware of it. But in meditation, we can become more of an observer of the mind. And what we come to know is that the mind is constantly telling stories about our current moment experience. So, on a very fundamental level, our experience every moment is just what it is. It's a constellation of sensations, of feelings, of subtle sensations related to energy flow, senses registering, eyes, ears, smell, taste, touch. So every moment is made up of a variety of these details, and there's not one moment that has the same constellation of details. And overlaid on top of that is the mind's story of what we're registering in this moment. So just begin to notice that. Begin to notice the mind has something to say about every moment. It's either evaluating, judging, telling future stories or past stories about, telling happy stories, telling sad stories. So there's this raw moment just as it is. Which is made up of senses and sensations. And there's an overlay of story from the mind. And so we don't want to stop the mind from doing this. It's its nature to tell stories. But the most important thing is to be onto it, to recognize that the mind is always viewing the moment through a particular lens, which has been shaped by our conditioning. And if we remain plugged in to the storytelling of the mind, we will be led like a dog on a leash. And we will go through highs and lows, pain and suffering, joy, pleasure. But the question we can ask ourselves in meditation is, what is actually happening? What is truly happening right now? What's true in this moment? What do I know for sure? Which means that it takes willingness to unplug from the overlay of story that the mind will tend to contribute to the moment. So we can be aware of that overlay, but we can also make a choice over and over again to connect to what is actually happening. And what is actually happening can only be in this very moment. And the only thing we know for sure in this very moment is that we are, I am. And my moment is made up of sensations, sense perceptions, and thoughts. The invitation today is, what is it to experience this moment without engaging with the overlay of story of the mind? Leave it alone, let it do what it does, but stay with what you actually know for sure. So let's practice on some situation in your life that has been occupying a lot of your mental space. It could be a happy thing, something that you're looking forward to. It could also be a challenging thing. So just something that has been occupying quite a bit of your mental space. Just reflect on that particular aspect of your life. Let it just come in. It's probably just waiting at the door anyways. And allow it to come in with all that it includes. So it comes in with the familiar stories, stories about past and future. It probably comes in with some emotional tone to it. And also perhaps certain areas of tension or relaxation in the body. And perhaps an engagement of some of the energy centers as well. You just really allow yourself to take in the constellation of details that come with this particular circumstance or area of your life. And notice for yourself that it's very likely that the storytelling really wants to come to the foreground. It can tend to become the strongest part of the experience, particularly with situations that create great challenge or that create great joy. The mind wants to create meaning out of these experiences in our life, which then disconnects it from actually experiencing things in real time. So just notice that. Notice that the mind is just quite dominant with this challenging experience, and maybe the familiar stories will show up as well. Things that you tell people about this circumstance, the things that you tell yourself. And again, it can be both happy and sad stories, positive and anxiety-ridden stories. And just notice how the body responds to that. And what would it be to experience this particular area of your life without engaging the stories, to experience it really freshly with a beginner's mind, with a mind that doesn't know? So you don't have to reject the input of the mind, but you just put your attention elsewhere. So when the mind, it doesn't know, it needs to, or the system goes to other ways of knowing, through the body, through the emotions, through the sensations, through the senses, through the energy, through the breath. So open to those parts, those ways of knowing. They're all happening here right now. Let the mind come and go, the thoughts come and go. And what is it to experience this part of your life without the overlay of storytelling? Some of us may notice a kind of a joy and a freedom, a sense of possibility, a sense of openness and relaxation. Because in a way, the stories are like a prison. They limit our capacity to really be with what wants to unfold, what is actually unfolding. And so when we let go, being hooked into the stories, and we just fall back into this here now, there can be a great sense of freedom and relaxation and possibility, spaciousness. So allow yourself to steep in that. For others, there may be a sense of fear because we're letting go of needing to know. And for some of us, that can induce a kind of a fear. And so if that's your experience, allow that to be here as well. Fear is not the enemy. It's actually a doorway into freedom and perspective and possibilities. And notice how the storytelling is going to want to come in through the back door. Just kind of it seeps in because it's so habitual. There might even be a story about whether you're doing this right or wrong. Just be onto it. Just notice that this is the tendency of the mind. And once you notice it, this is when it can begin to unravel. This is when it can begin to be less and less dominant. And be sure that you don't start telling stories about your mind. about your capacity to unhook from the mind. It's just another story. So for the remaining part of the meditation, you can, if you'd like, you can continue to meditate on this particular circumstance in your life, if you're finding that interesting, or you can let that all go and just come into a direct relationship with this moment through your senses and sensations. Letting the mind be free to do what it does while committing to the here and the now.